Right now, as you're watching this, about 1 in 5 adults over the age of 65 has this exact thing happening inside their body, and almost none of them know what it truly is. They feel it a few times a week, some feel it every single day. They push up out of a chair or swing their legs off the edge of the bed in the morning, and the room tilts. A gray swim slides across their vision. For 2 or 3 seconds, the floor feels uncertain, the edges of the world go soft, and they reach out for the counter, the door frame, the back of the sofa, and they wait for it to pass. And it does pass. That's the trap. It passes. So they let it go. Here is the part I need you to sit with, because it's the reason I'm making this video at all. That 2-second swim is one of the most common reasons older adults lose their footing and fall. Not trip over a rug, not miss a step. Simply stand, go dizzy, and go down. A fall that cracks a hip. A fall that strikes a head on the corner of a table. Something that begins as a harmless little wobble ends, for far too many people, in an ambulance and a hospital bed and a recovery that takes months. So this is not a small thing that you can keep waving away. You feel it as a passing moment. Your body means it as a warning light on the dashboard. And I'll be honest with you about something else, because you deserve plain talk. The system around you makes far more money treating the broken hip than it ever would spending 10 quiet minutes explaining why you got dizzy in the first place. The standard appointment doesn't have the time. So let me give you the time. That's the whole point of this channel. You already know exactly what I'm describing. You've been sitting comfortably, reading or watching your shows, and you get up to answer the door or put the kettle on. For a single heartbeat, you're not sure your legs are underneath you. You steady yourself against something. It fades in a few seconds, and you tell yourself the same thing everyone tells themselves. You say, I just got up too fast. And you carry on with your day and you never think about it again until the next time. Maybe you've noticed it happens most in the morning, right after you rise from bed. Maybe it's worst after a big lunch, in that heavy hour afterward. Maybe it's worse in the summer heat or right after a hot shower. You've felt the pattern even if you've never once said it out loud to another living soul. And that pattern is not random noise. Your body has been trying to hand you a message inside that pattern. Today, we're going to read it together, because here is what almost everyone gets completely wrong. When the room swims, you reach for the obvious suspects. You think it must be your ears, an inner ear problem, vertigo, some trouble with your balance, or a colder fear creeps in and you wonder if it's your brain, if it's the start of something with your memory, something you don't want to name. Or you do the thing we have all been trained to do our whole lives. You shrug your shoulders, and you say the 2 words that end every conversation. You say, it's age. I want you to set all 3 of those explanations down on the table and step back from them. Because in the large majority of cases, the dizziness you feel when you stand has almost nothing to do with your ears, and it has nothing to do with your mind slipping. The real trigger sits lower than your head. It's down in your blood vessels, and it lives inside a set of tiny pressure sensors that most people have never once heard mentioned in their entire lives. You have spent years, maybe decades, aiming your worry at the wrong part of your body. Today, we fix the aim, and once it's fixed, it stays fixed. Let me show you what is actually happening in there, and I'm going to use a picture you will never be able to forget once you've seen it. Think about an old dimmer switch on a wall, the kind with the little slider or the round dial. When that switch was brand new, you'd flip it and the room went bright in the very same instant. No delay. No flicker. Light, immediately. But years later, that identical switch starts to lag. You flip it, and for half a beat, the room stays dim before the light finally catches up and floods in. Nothing about the switch is broken. No wire is cut. The switch just got slow with age. Your blood pressure has a switch working exactly like that one. And with the years, it gets slow in exactly the same way. Stay right here with me, because the moment you see this clearly, every dizzy morning you have ever had will suddenly make perfect sense. If this is the kind of plain, unhurried explanation your last appointment simply didn't have room for, then subscribe and we'll keep going through these together. That's the whole engine here, nothing more. So here is the real mechanics of it, step by step. When you are lying down flat or sitting comfortably, your blood is spread fairly evenly all through your body, top to bottom. But the moment you stand up, gravity does something dramatic, and it does it instantly. Gravity yanks a large volume of your blood downward, pulling it into your legs and pooling it in your belly. And we are not talking about a small trickle here. Research on how the body actually handles the act of standing puts the number at roughly 500 milliliters of blood, close to a full water bottle's worth, that drops toward your lower half in the first few seconds after you rise to your feet. Now, think about where that blood just went. It left the top of you. And the top of you includes your brain, sitting up there at the very highest point, furthest from your feet, needing a steady supply every second. So, for a brief moment after you stand, less blood is reaching your head than it wants. That gray swim you feel, that soft-edged wobble in your vision, that is your brain, very briefly, running on a little less fuel than it would like. It is not damage, it is a dip. Now, your body is absolutely not helpless in this situation. It has a rescue system built right in, and when it works well, it is a genuinely beautiful piece of engineering. Tucked into the walls of the big arteries in your neck and near your heart, you have tiny pressure sensors. Their real name is baroreceptors, and I want you to picture them as little pressure gauges built directly into your plumbing, watching the pressure every second of every day. The instant your pressure drops when you stand, these gauges fire off an urgent alarm straight to your brainstem, down at the base of your skull. And your brainstem fires back an answer in a fraction of a single second. It tells your heart to beat a little faster and a little harder. And it tells the blood vessels down in your legs and your belly to squeeze themselves tighter. Picture a hand gripping down hard on a garden hose to force the water pressure back up. That is your vessels clamping down to drive the blood back up to your head. Squeeze the vessels, speed up the heart, push the blood back north to the brain. Done. In a healthy young system, this entire rescue happens so fast and so smoothly that you never feel a single thing. You stand, and the light is already bright. That is the dimmer switch when it's new. Flip and instant brightness. So what changes over the years? Two things change, and I want you to notice that both of them are perfectly ordinary, and neither one, on its own, is a disease. The first change is in the sensors themselves. Those little pressure gauges get less sensitive as the decades pass. The proper way to describe it is that your baroreflex sensitivity declines. The sensors have not vanished, and they are not dead. They simply report the pressure drop a little more slowly and a little more quietly than they used to. The alarm still rings. It just rings a beat late. The second change is in the pipes. The walls of your arteries stiffen gradually as the years go by. A young blood vessel is springy and elastic, and it can clamp down hard and fast the moment it gets the order. An older, stiffer vessel is slower to squeeze, and when it does squeeze, it doesn't squeeze quite as tightly. So even when the alarm finally does reach it, the response that comes back is weaker and later than it once was. Now put those two ordinary changes together, side by side. The alarm rings late, and the answer comes slow. And so for 2 or 3 seconds after you rise to your feet, your brain is left sitting in that dim gap, waiting for the light to catch up and flood back in. That gap, that brief waiting moment, is the dizziness. That is the entire thing, start to finish, and it even has a proper name. Doctors call it orthostatic hypotension, which is simply the technical label for a drop in your blood pressure that happens when you stand up. A big, intimidating name for what is really just a small gap in timing. And because so much of this comes down to how much fluid your circulation has to work with in the first place, this is exactly the territory that my guide, the drainage protocol, walks you through, step by step, how fluid moves and settles and gets managed inside an older body. It will not replace anything we cover here today. But if fluid balance is a real issue for you, the link is sitting there in the description whenever you want it. Now, I have to stop and be extremely clear with you for a minute, because what I'm about to say matters more than anything else in this entire video, and I don't want you to skip past it. Most standing dizziness truly is that harmless little timing gap we've been describing, but not all of it. So I need you to listen closely to these next lines and hold on to them. If you ever actually pass out, and I mean genuinely lose consciousness, not just wobble but fully go down, that needs a doctor promptly, not someday when it's convenient. If your dizziness ever arrives alongside chest pain, a pounding or fluttering heartbeat, or a real shortness of breath, you treat that as urgent and you get it looked at. If you ever feel dizzy and at the same time notice slurred speech, one side of your face drooping, sudden trouble with your vision, or weakness running down one side of your body, those are the warning signs of a stroke, and you call the emergency services immediately. You do not wait that one out. And if your dizziness ever shows up together with black, tarry stools, that can be a signal of bleeding somewhere inside you, and it needs to be checked right away. And one more, and this one is important for so many of you watching. If you take blood pressure medicine or water pills or pills for your prostate or anything for your mood, please do not change them or stop them on your own because of anything I've said in this video. Some of those very medicines can worsen this exact problem, but the timing and the dose of them has to be handled by the person who prescribed them, working with you. So you bring this up at your next visit and you talk it through. You never try to fix it alone in your kitchen. That is the safety floor, and now you're standing on it. So let's get you some real answers. Here comes a turn that most people watching have never once heard, and it genuinely changes how you handle this from today onward. Some of the habits that quietly make this problem worse are habits that you almost certainly believe are healthy ones. And that is precisely why this whole thing hides so well from you for so long. Take a big lunch heavy in carbohydrates. After a large meal, and especially one loaded with bread, rice, potatoes, or pasta, your body sends a whole wave of blood rushing to your gut to handle the work of digestion. That is a large amount of blood pulled away from the rest of you and pooled in your middle. Now imagine you stand up an hour after that meal. You have got the normal standing drop stacked directly on top of a digestion drop. Two dips, one on top of the other. And that is the reason some people only ever feel this in the early afternoon and nowhere else in the day. It is not random at all. It is simple arithmetic happening inside you. Or take alcohol, even a modest amount. Alcohol relaxes and widens your blood vessels. And that is the exact and precise opposite of the tight squeeze you desperately need at the moment you stand. So that one evening glass can leave your rescue system quietly working against its own job. And heat does the very same thing to you. A hot room, a long hot shower, a blazing summer afternoon. Heat opens your blood vessels wide to help cool you down, and wide open vessels hold their pressure poorly. That is why a dizzy spell right after a warm shower is such a familiar, classic story. You always blamed the steam or standing too long. It was the plumbing opening up. So now let's make every bit of this concrete and useful. Here are the ways you can safely read your own body, starting today, this afternoon. The first one is simple awareness, and it costs you nothing at all. For the next full week, every time that swim hits you, I want you to notice the setup around it. Had you just eaten a large meal? Had you just stepped out of a hot shower? Had you just woken up and risen from bed? Had you just stood up after sitting still for a very long stretch? You are quietly building yourself a map. And a good, honest map of your own patterns is the very first thing any decent clinician secretly wishes you would walk through the door carrying. The second one is a gentle timing test you can do in the moment. When you stand up and you feel that swim beginning, do not panic and do not rush yourself. Rest one hand firmly on something solid and steady, and then slowly count in your head. 1, 2, 3. If the fog clears out by the time you reach 3 or 4, that is the classic signature of the timing gap we have been talking about this whole time, your rescue system simply arriving a couple of seconds behind. But if it drags on much longer than that, or if it gets worse instead of clearing, that is a note you carry straight to your doctor. The third one is the most useful of all, and if you happen to own a home blood pressure cuff, you can do it yourself. Sit quietly and calmly for 5 minutes. Then take your pressure and write down both of the numbers. Then stand up, wait for about 1 minute on your feet, and take that pressure a second time. In this particular problem, the top number will often fall by around 20 points, or the bottom number by around 10 points, within 3 minutes of you standing. Now, if you see a drop like that, you have not diagnosed yourself, and I want to be clear about that. But you have found pure gold, because you carry those 2 little readings into your appointment, and you have handed your doctor the answer on a silver plate. That right there is the whole difference between a rushed 5-minute visit and a real one that actually goes somewhere, now and only now. Because you finally understand the why underneath all of it, let's talk about what actually helps you. And I want you to notice that the goal of every single thing I'm about to give you is beautifully simple. Keep more of your blood up top when you stand, and give your slow rescue system a running head start. The very first thing costs you absolutely nothing. You simply stop standing up like you're still 25 years old. When you get out of bed in the morning, do not spring straight up onto your feet. Sit on the edge of the mattress for a full minute first. Let your legs hang down toward the floor. Let your body register the change, and then, and only then, you rise. You are quite literally handing that late ringing alarm the extra few seconds it needs to catch up with you. Break your whole morning rise into 3 separate stages: lying down, then sitting up, then standing. Do that, and half of this battle is already quietly won before you've even left the bedroom. The second thing is the one that almost nobody ever teaches you, and it feels like a small miracle the first time it works. You can rescue yourself right there in the moment. Remember, the entire fix comes down to a squeeze on your vessels, so you simply do the squeeze manually, yourself, with your own muscles. The instant you stand and feel that swim starting to rise, cross one leg tightly over the other and clench the big muscles of your thighs and your backside hard, like you're bracing against something. Or rise up onto your toes a few times in a row. Or squeeze both your fists tight and tense your arms. These little moves have a name. They're called counter maneuvers, and they physically pump the pooled blood back up and out of your legs. You become the garden hose hand yourself. Try it the very next time. Most people are genuinely astonished that they can stop the dizziness cold with nothing but a simple squeeze. The third thing is your hydration. A body that is running low on fluid has less blood volume to spare in the first place, so the standing drop lands that much harder on you. Keeping yourself well hydrated all through the day simply gives your circulation more to work with when the moment comes. Many people find that a single glass of water first thing in the morning, before they start moving around, takes the sharp edge right off those early morning spells. The fourth thing is salt. And here I have to be genuinely careful with you, because this one cuts both ways. For some people with this problem, a bit more salt and fluid helps the body hold on to its volume, and that holding supports your pressure. But salt is a double-edged tool, and I won't pretend otherwise. If you have high blood pressure or any heart condition or any kidney condition, then more salt can do you real and serious harm. So this is absolutely not a step you do on your own initiative. This is a bring it to your clinician step, every time. You ask them plainly, straight out. Given everything else that is true about my body, would a little more salt help me here, or would it hurt me? And you let them make that call together with you. The fifth thing is the meal fix, and it flows straight out of what we learned earlier. If your dizziness tends to cluster in the hour after you eat, then try smaller meals and go lighter on the heavy starches in the middle of the day. Smaller, simpler meals pull less of your blood away for the work of digestion, which means less of it is being stolen from the rest of you when you rise. And the sixth thing is compression. Waist-high compression stockings, and I mean the genuinely snug kind that give real pressure, not loose comfort socks. Press firmly on your legs and your belly and stop the blood from pooling down low in the first place, before the problem even starts. You wear them through the day and take them off at night when you lie down. They can quietly make standing up feel easier without you thinking about it. Ask your clinician which strength is the right fit for you. So here is tonight. 5 things, right now. Nothing complicated and nothing dramatic. Number 1. Tomorrow morning when you wake, sit on the edge of the bed for a slow count of 60 before you stand. Just try it a single time and feel the difference. Number 2. Learn the squeeze. Practice crossing your legs and clenching those muscles now, before you actually need it, so that it comes to you automatically in the moment when you do. Number 3. Put a glass of water on your nightstand tonight and drink it down before you get up and start your day tomorrow. Number 4. Start your map. Keep a small note by your favorite chair and jot down each time the swim hits you and exactly what you had just been doing. Number 5. Write 2 questions on that very same note for your next appointment. Should I be checking my lying and standing blood pressure at home? And could any of my current medicines be a part of this? And that is the whole thing. Not one single dramatic change in there. Just your aim, finally pointed at the right target after all this time. Before I let you go today, I want to ask you something directly, because your answer honestly changes which of these steps matters the most for you. Tell me your decade down in the comments. Are you in your 60s, your 70s, or your 80s? The reason I'm asking is real. After about the age of 70, that pressure reflex tends to slow in a slightly different way, and the salt and the hydration advice both need a heavier, more careful hand from your doctor. So let me know who I'm writing for down there. It genuinely shapes the next video I make for you. Here is what I want you to carry out of this room with you today and hold on to. That little swim you feel when you stand is not your ears betraying you. It is not your mind slipping away from you. And it is not simply the price you pay for getting older, to be endured in silence. It is a timing gap, a small pause, in a pressure system that used to snap instantly and now just takes a single beat longer than it once did. And you can widen your own margin. You can give that faithful system the extra seconds it needs, and you can do the squeeze yourself, with your own two hands, in the exact moment it counts the most. You have been treating the wrong part of your body for a very long time. Now, finally, you know precisely where to look instead. So steady yourself, stand up slow, and take good care of the remarkable machine that has been quietly carrying you all of these years.